What is up, my dashing dudes and darling dames? I am the Hans TV, and welcome back to the subreddit that just makes you realize how horrible people are. It's r/IDon'tWorkHereLady. Our first post for today comes from the Quarantinian. Kick to the shins? You're in trouble now. About a year ago, my best friend had cancer surgery and was given a catheter and a bag to wear for a while as he recovered. Ordered to take it easy. He complied for just a few days, declared his doctor's advice to be a friendly recommendation, and pressured me to take him on a beer run. After several days of being cooped up in the house, he just wanted a single bottle of his favorite brew, and I, pulled by the motivations of unstirring the crazy and wanting to avoid days of passive-aggressive, agreed. 20-minute trip. One bottle for him, and a six-pack for me. Win-win all around. He donned a pair of loose, dark blue athletic pants, a black tee, and off we went. At the store, there are 2 or 3 people wearing dark blue slacks and black polos drifting around. Employees, obviously, but not doing any actual discernible work. They wanted to be ignored. We ignore them, and headed for the beer. The desired bottle is found in the cooler. I have a fit of indecisiveness between my friend's brand versus my close second for $2 less. Won't be but a minute before deciding which I want to rent. Snap, snap, snap. Excuse me? A normally polite phrase, stripped of all politeness in much the same way as a house flipper's house is stripped of 60s wallpaper. Get me a cold case of blank. Everything in the display is warm. Such a shrill voice. Such annoyance. From the lady in the white pants, dark jacket, stiletto heels, and the haircut. My buddy, never asked to teach protocol for guests of white-tailed dinner parties, replied, "Nope, don't work here." Told me to hurry up and lazily looked at me. I said go get me a cold pack. Ball in his court, he volleys back. Lady, they have the vodka up front. Get some of that so people get to liking you a lot quicker. This results in a face that shot into the red so fast and so deep that fire trucks across the country felt the pang of shame. And then she made an error in judgment. She kicked him. Aimed for the shin. Oops. My buddy's catheter bag was a small one he wore strapped to his lower leg. In protest of the sharp jolt, the bag released its contents, in much the same way as a Bauer releases a meal from Arby's with a spicy chili dog chaser, only into my buddy's sock and shoe. Not pleased, he gave his leg a snapping shake to reflexively get the pee off his ankle. A fine mist of justice arched gracefully through the air as it found its inner Jackson Pollock by creating a work of art on a clean white canvas. For reasons beyond my curiosity, his catheter contained blood mixed in with the urine. Later, I would ask if this meant he was dying and should I take him to the hospital, but he said his doctor told him, it turned out, if I wanted to deal with the blood, I would have become a surgeon or sold a lot more of it. But it was just nasty. Not evidence of imminent need to delete his browser history. But contrasted by the white fabric, it stood out quite well for examination by anybody so interested. Ever see somebody go into catatonic shock, morphed into a statue with an open flycatcher just above the chin? I have. We left, paid and left. No idea what happened next, and that's just fine with me. Today's story is brought to you by the letter P and hefty garbage bags. You might be able to get some stains out, but sometimes you probably don't want to. As much as I want to talk about the way that this man wrote this story, which was absolutely fantastic by the way, I love the analogies, I just can't wrap my mind around how this lady thought that it was okay to assault someone because they said, get it yourself. Huh? This next post comes from Addy911. If you're folding a shirt, you work here. Before I start, let's meet the cast. Karen is a crazy entitled lady, NW is the nice worker, M is a manager, O is the police officer, F is friend, and OP is me. After going to the movies, me and my friend decided to go to the mall to get some cute new clothes before school started again. This was during spring break, before viruses canceled school. We ate lunch at the food court and friend wanted to go to, let's call it, Bats and Body Works, to get some new lotion. I have a tendency to pass out. It's not anything serious, but sometimes strong smells cause me to become lightheaded, and I didn't want to take my chances at the mall. Friend understands this, and we agreed to meet back up at the food court in 30 minutes. I decided to go to, let's call it, America Hawk, to look at clothes. I have OCD, and I always make sure to fold any clothing item I pick up back exactly the way I had it. This is important for later. Nice worker. Can I help you with anything, ma'am? I'm good, but just looking. This is also important for later. I walk around and look for about 5 minutes, and I'm folding a shirt back when I hear someone clear their throat behind me. I don't pay any attention to this as I figured it wasn't directed at me. Then I hear, "Excuse me," Still, I don't think she's talking to me, and I just kind of look at her before she walks away. Hey! Karen grabs me. Hard. How dare you walk away from me when I'm speaking to you? I'm confused, so I'm just like, huh? Karen growls. You should really be nicer to your customers. This kind of service is not acceptable. I'm kind of angry at this point, as Karen has already grabbed me, but I keep my cool and say, sorry lady, I don't work here. Then I point at Nice Work and say, she works here, I'm sure she'd be happy to help you. Karen does not like this answer and screams, you do work here, I saw you folding shirts. Oh, I just have OCD, so stop being lazy. Now I saw you folding those shirts and you are going to help me. Karen then proceeds to shove her phone in my face and say, my daughter wants this swimsuit and I can't find it here. I want you to get it now. Sorry lady, like I said, I don't work here and I should go meet up with my friend so she doesn't get worried. It had only been like 15 minutes, but I wanted to get away from Karen. You are not leaving until I get this swimsuit. Finally, the nice worker seems to notice the crazy Karen yelling at me. What seems to be the problem here, ma'am? Karen screeches. Your employee is refusing to help me find this, and shoves her phone in the nice worker's face. I'm sorry, ma'am, she does not work here, but I would be happy to assist you. Karen, screaming yet again, yes, she does. I saw her folding shirts. Nice worker sighs and turns to me. I'm sorry about this, ma'am. You can leave. You are not going anywhere. Then she says the classic Karen line. I want to speak to your manager. Nice worker apologizes and asks me just to wait a few more minutes, then runs off to get the manager. Karen turns to me. You see what you did. If you had just done your job, none of this would have happened. Karen then gets an evil look on her face and says, I'm going to tell the manager you assaulted me. Then you will get arrested. Just a side note, I'm a 5'2", 16-year-old and don't appear to be threatening at all. And I sigh. I turn to Karen and say, look lady, I didn't touch you, and if they check the cameras they will see you grabbing me. Karen doesn't like that. Shut up, you little brat. Didn't your mother ever teach you to respect your elders? Finally, the nice worker gets back with the manager. You have terrible employees. She refused to help me find this swimsuit for my little girl. When I approached to ask her for some help, she assaulted me. Nice worker interrupts. Yeah, I saw the whole thing. She never touched her. Lies! I'm calling the police. Yes, she actually called the cops. I've been gone for about 45 minutes now, and my friend begins to text me wondering where I am. I respond telling her I'm in America Hawk, and this crazy lady just called the cops on me for not helping her find a swimsuit. Karen snatches my phone. What's this? Spreading lies about me to your punk little friends, I see, She then puts my phone in her purse. I'm keeping this for evidence. Hey, give that back. The manager tells her to give me back my phone. Oh, I see you are fine with letting your employees behave this way to paying customers. OP is not getting this phone back, she growls. A police officer walks in, the Karen. Officer, thank goodness you're here. She, pointing at me, threatened and assaulted me. Is this true? No. This lady thought I worked here because I was folding shirts, and she assaulted me when I tried to leave. And she has my phone. Karen screams, lies, then states that my phone is evidence and a crime against her. The manager tells the officer that they can check the cameras to see what really happened. Karen immediately interjects and says, why don't you just believe me? There's no need to check cameras. The officer says, let's see the footage. And Karen screams, this store has terrible service. I'm leaving. Hey, you are not allowed to leave. Come back into the store and wait until we see the footage. If you were telling the truth, as you say you have been, you have nothing to worry about. Karen, meekly, but why don't we take a look at the camera footage now? After looking at the camera footage, you can clearly see Karen grabbing me, screaming and snatching my phone. The officer turns to me. OP, would you like to press charges for assault and minor theft? I say yes, and the officer goes to arrest Karen when she scratches him and screams, I did nothing wrong. I refuse to be arrested. The officer tells Karen she is now being charged with battery on an officer and resisting arrest, as well as assault, minor theft, falsely giving a police report, and disturbing the peace. Just think, none of this would have happened if Karen just accepted the fact that I didn't work there. The police take a couple of statements from me and also take pictures of my shoulders, as I was pressing charges for assault, and give me back my phone. The officer tells me I'm free to go. At this point, I'd been gone for about 2 hours. My friend came to America Hawk and was waiting on the bench for me to be done. My friend drives me home, I tell her everything, and we kind of laugh about what just happened. So not only could this Karen have avoided this whole situation if she had just taken her word for it, she could have avoided a couple of felonies too, aka assaulting a police officer and falsifying a police report. Our photo post for today comes from Blackfire Phoenix. I'm just trying to reach the crackers. I was with my husband at a very popular chain of convenience store that had just recently opened nearby my home. It was my husband's day off, so instead of driving to the hellhole grocery store that he works at, we decided to just grab a few snacks at the newly opened convenience store. I was wearing a black shirt, which employees at this store typically wear, but very obviously had pajama pants on, since it was a lazy day and I didn't care to change into something nicer, since we were only picking up a few things. I am incredibly short, 4'11", and my husband was a few aisles away picking out some ice cream and drinks for us, while I went to get some goldfish crackers. Unlucky for me, the goldfish crackers were on the top shelf. As I'm struggling to reach them on my own, I feel a presence at the front of the aisle, and in my peripheral vision, see that a woman is standing there, staring at me. At first I thought that maybe she had come over to help me grab the bag of crackers that were just out of my reach, since I've had many polite taller people help me on the past. But instead, she just stood there, and after a few seconds I finally glanced over at her, only to see that she was now glaring at me. This made me a bit uneasy, but I turned back to the shelf and continued to try and grab the crackers. That's when she finally said something. Her in an irritable voice, "Hey, excuse me." Thinking that she isn't speaking to me, but to an employee passing by, I don't turn to look at her. "Hello, excuse me." Now she's approached me and I finally turn to her. "Did you not notice me here? You looked right at me." Confused, I respond, "Sorry, did you need to get to this shelf?" Her glare intensifies and she huffs, ignoring my question, and then says, "Where can I find the towels?" I think there is an aisle by the clothing on the back wall that has some, but I'm not sure. "What do you mean you're not sure? You work here." Confused as to why she thinks I'm an employee, I tell her, "No, sorry, I don't work here." This seems to really piss her off, and she loudly responds, "Yes you do, you're stocking this shelf right now." My expression was probably conveying how irritated I was at this point, and I motioned to the goldfish crackers. "No, I'm trying to reach that bag on the top shelf. I'm a customer, just like you." She continues to glare at me for a few more uncomfortable moments, then mutters, "Oh," but she doesn't look convinced. She starts to walk away as my husband comes around the end of the aisle, and in a voice loud enough for the rest of the store to hear, says, "How rude." As my husband approaches me, he gives the lady a confused look, then asks me what happened. I tell him that I'll tell him later, and ask him to reach the crackers for me. As we go to checkout, the lady is now speaking to another employee nearby, and I notice her pointing at me and hear her saying something about a lazy employee. The actual employee glances my way, then shakes her head, and though I couldn't hear the response, I assume she's now telling the lady that I don't work there. I get one more glare from the lady before the employee then points out the aisle that she is looking for. The employee then comes to check my husband and I out. She apologizes to me for the lady's behavior, which only confuses my husband more. So on the way out, he asks again what happened. I explained it all to him, and that's when he points out that I'm wearing a black shirt and why I was mistaken for working there. Though he doesn't understand how she noticed that, but didn't notice that I had PJ pants on. The Hunter Artemis in the comments really explains this subreddit to a T. I really don't understand how these people can just keep thinking you work somewhere when you literally tell them that you don't. Why the hell would you lie about not working there? What is lying about not working somewhere going to do anyway? Also, if she had been stocking the shelves saying she worked there, there would be a cart or something behind her. Like, the aisle was empty besides her trying to reach the goldfish. Well, alright my dashing dudes and darling dames. That is going to do it for today's episode of r/IDon'tWorkHereLady. I hope you enjoyed the stories, and if you did, I'm going to link them down in the description as always. And if you liked the video, subscribe, share, drop a like, and a comment down below what you'd like to see me read next. A humongous thank you to everyone who keeps on subscribing to my channel, and who keeps pushing me to be better about what I'm doing. I cannot thank you all enough for what y'all do. But with that being said, I will see you in the next video.